To the citizens, community, neighborhood leaders, to our business leaders, our city employees, I'd like to welcome everybody here for the State of the City address. I want to begin by recognizing our elected officials. For those elected officials in the room, would you please stand up and be welcome? Thank you so much for your service to the City of New Orleans. I'd like to especially recognize our council president, our council person at large, and our two other council members who are here with us. Shucky, thank you. Stacy, so much. Nice to see you. John and Cynthia, thank you so much for being here today. For the last 2 years, we have worked together, side by side, and we've made great progress for our city. We achieve a lot when we seek and when we find common ground. In the next 2 years, if we continue to work together, we will accomplish great things for all of the people of the city of New Orleans. 2 years ago, we stood together. We were unbowed, we were unbroken. And we proclaimed that even after all of our trials and tribulations, we would come out of the other side strong, united, and ready to rebuild New Orleans, not as she was, but as we always dreamed she could be. In the last 752 days, we've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and the really ugly. This whole speech can be summarized as follows. We found a mess. We have made great progress. And together, we all have a very, very long way to go. When we met together 2 years ago, our city was in a nosedive. Government was a barrier to progress rather than a catalyst to change. Hundreds of rebuilding projects were unfunded, stalled, and in disarray. Our police department teetered on collapse. Our city was hurtling towards financial disaster. The worst blight problem in the country, no real strategy or resources to deal with it. Our recreation department, once a national model, had become a sad embarrassment. Economic development efforts were uncoordinated and failed to produce jobs. And City Hall had even been cut back to a 4-day work week. Private businesses, not-for-profits, philanthropic organizations were heading for the hills, looking elsewhere to invest their precious dollars. But the people of this city have an unwavering spirit, and so against all odds, we kept moving forward, one step at a time. Now, I stand before you to say that we have turned the corner, and we are blazing a very different and new, but difficult pathway forward. To paraphrase my good friends, Ben Franklin and Sam Cooke, the only things certain in life are death, taxes, and change. Yes, change. My friends, people of New Orleans, change is going to come. Our challenge when we change, though, is to preserve the good, to get rid of the bad, and to pray that God grants us the wisdom to know the difference between the two. Every day, we're working hard to change the bad into the good. I call that reform. Reform of the New Orleans Police Department is the first order of business. That's why before taking office, I invited the Department of Justice into our city to help us rebuild NOPD, and they have been great partners. We have moved aggressively to establish a consent decree, and we're 98% there. But we have not waited to finish that consent decree to start fixing our police department. Indeed, we have implemented a comprehensive 65-point plan to completely remake NOPD. Today, we're moving full speed ahead. We have reformed City Hall, changing how our city spends money, moving from fiscal irresponsibility to fiscal responsibility. For too long, this city wasted too much, and it delivered too little. But we're changing that. We cut the budget, we reorganized, and we invested in city services, all at the same time. We clawed our way out of a $100 million budget hole, and we balanced the budget. Our fiscal house is now in order, and we have the scars to prove it. We cut government spending by 8%, and while spending is down $43 million less than in the year before we took office, we're delivering more value, much more. The year before we got here, the city only removed 154 blighted houses. In the last 2 years, we have eradicated 4,400 blighted units and collected nearly $2 million more from blighted properties. We reorganized the health department, giving our primary care clinics to private not-for-profit providers who are delivering quality care to our patients. We have increased by 100% the number of catch basins that we clean and cut in half the response time for towing abandoned vehicles. We cut our costs on the sanitation contracts, we added curbside recycling, and we have increased collections across the board. We knew that change at City Hall required everyone to be involved, and so we got about the business of creating an open and transparent government that invited the community to the table. We asked for your input, and you gave it. In over 130 community meetings, we've created accountability initiatives to track our work, including Blight Stat and Quality of Life Stat. Plus, we are now selecting members from across the city for our new community police advisory boards. This kind of openness and accountability is the key to delivering results. Our city's recreation department, sadly, was in a shambles. Our kids had nowhere to play. So we reformed NORD, and we made it work again. With your vote, we created the NORD Commission. Then we doubled the funding for recreation. We committed over $100 million to new parks and playgrounds, opened and renovated 10 parks, 12 pools, tripled the number of kids taking part in the camps, from 4 to 34 kiddie camps, 1,600 kids to nearly 5,000 served. We introduced 17 camps for 1,000 teenagers, and we partnered with the Red Cross to offer over 52,000 hours of swim lessons to the people of the city of New Orleans. There's no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, that NORD is moving in the right direction. Thank you. Our economic development efforts had broken down, so we reformed economic development too, creating the NOLA Business Alliance to grow jobs in our community. Mr. Henry Coaxum, my chairman, is here. Thank you, Henry. And now we're rocking and rolling. 2 years and 3,400 jobs created. That's right, 3,400 new jobs in our city, and a new process for economic development that works. Our biggest addition, GE Capital, a game changer for the city of New Orleans. It will establish a new technology center downtown with 300 high-paying, knowledge-based jobs for the future. Everybody said retail was desperately needed, so we got after it. And since taking office, over 50 new retail businesses have opened in the city of New Orleans, including Da Fresh in Central City. With a fresh food retailer initiative loan, Da Fresh owner and New Orleans native Douglas Carricker is going to be able to open shop, and now the neighborhood will finally have a new grocery store. Our latest blockbuster deal, Costco, is going to open a new store in the city of New Orleans. $40 million investment, 200 jobs, nearly 150,000 square feet of world-class retail in your city. Oh, and by the way, more major retailers are coming. The new mid-city retail market, a Walmart in New Orleans East, and just last Thursday we inked a deal on the new Walmart in Gentilly. And ladies and gentlemen, there's more to come. And let's not forget that New Orleans' economy continues to grow and it continues to diversify, earning us the title of Hollywood South. In the last 2 years, our film industry has nearly doubled, doing over $500 million a book of business in 2011 alone. We have 6 major motion pictures being filmed right now. 1,120 industry folks are working as we speak. Also, the port continues to grow and prosper, serving as the great gateway to the American heartland. And thousands arrive in the city every day, streaming off of the cruise lines into our shops and into our restaurants. Plus, our energy industry is coming back. I want to congratulate Tidewater Inc. for a huge fourth quarter where they doubled their earnings from just a year ago. Ladies and gentlemen, the numbers speak for themselves. A regional unemployment rate below the national average. Home sales up over 9% in the metro area. Forbes said we're the #1 city for brain gain and the #1 of the best big city for jobs. Wall Street Journal's Market Watch said we were the most improved city for business in America. And ladies and gentlemen, the Hornets are staying right where they belong here in New Orleans forever. That's right. There's no doubt that our economy is moving in the right direction, and everyone is taking notice. But everyone has to share in these opportunities, and New Orleanians must be the ones that rebuild our city. For years, our city operated under a dark cloud. Our procurement process was in disarray, and too often local women and minority-owned businesses were shut out. So we reformed the procurement process too. With the stroke of a pen, we leveled the playing field and stamped out corruption and cronyism, started moving city contracting in the right direction, awarding contracts based on what you know, not who you know. I have lost friendships over this, but it was the right thing to do. Thank you. Now, we have a fully staffed supplier diversity office, doubling DBE city contracts and tripling the number of firms we certify as DBE each month. To further build capacity for small businesses, we also launched the Contractors College of New Orleans and partnered with Goldman Sachs and Delgado to create the 10,000 Small Business Program, which so far has provided local businesses with access to $20 million in capital. This initiative has allowed nearly 100 local small women and minority-owned businesses to learn, to expand, and to create jobs. Just one great example from this group is Angelica Rivera from Comex Construction. Since being inducted to the 10,000 Small Business Program, they've received outstanding support, have expanded from 6 to 15 employees with new construction projects springing up all over the city. Our boards and commissions were broken, and so we reformed them too, and will continue to do so. Everybody knows about Public Belt Railroad. It went off the tracks. In the year before we arrived, public money was being misspent, so we reformed it with a new downsized board, common sense term limits, and a new direction. After we fixed it, last year's profits for this key public asset were actually up $2 million. I want to thank Mayor Bartholomew and the new board for the work that they have done. Public Belt is back on track. The Inspector General once called our airport the monument to corruption. So we reformed that public body too, with new leadership. Our chairman, Nolan Rollins, is here, and tough new policies. You can see the improvements today. $350 million in ongoing renovations, new direct flights, new vendors with New Orleans food, and more. The airport's taken off, and it's going to be ready as we host the Super Bowl next year. The city's taxi cabs weren't looking so good, so with the City Council, and I thank you all, we passed a sweeping reform package to clean up the industry. By early next year, customers can expect clean cabs equipped with a security camera, GPS, and a credit card machine. Our cab drivers can expect a bureau that's on the up and up and delivers better services. Our cab drivers are our frontline ambassadors, and I look forward to working with them in the future. Now, when we got to City Hall, customer service was not so friendly, so we're reforming that too. To start with, we're open 5 days a week, and you're now greeted by a courteous city employee at our welcome desk who has the answers to your questions. Our website has been revamped, and for the record, our website is now NOLA.gov. It is no longer thecityofno.com, which hopefully says a lot about our attitude at City Hall. We've also launched the first phase of NOLA 311. Now, you can dial 311 from any phone to get information, and you can register a complaint about your pothole and street light. You're going to get a tracking number and a timeline for repair. No lie. As you can see, we've come a very long way. And we'll continue to move customer service in the right direction in the upcoming year because we know that we work for you. When we arrived here at City Hall, the rebuilding efforts had basically stopped. So we had to reorganize that as well. And our steady progress is manifest in workers in hard hats, the sound of jackhammers in the tractors and the trucks that are rolling from downtown to uptown to the east. And yes, Virginia, there really are cranes in the sky right now. But as all of you know, it's not just about construction jobs. It's not just about bricks and mortar, as important as they are. It's about rebuilding our neighborhoods, which are the very heart and the very soul of our city. From the east to Broadmoor, 4 new libraries are open, with 1 more coming this summer in Algiers, Madam President. At the new regional library in the east, 1,000 library cards were issued in the first week that it was open, and new police stations and fire stations are coming online. We prioritized and we fully funded 295 capital projects. Halfway through our term, our committed projects are nearly 50% complete. Getting streetscape and business corridors up and running like Ferret Street, Oak Street, St. Claude Avenue, O.C. Haley Boulevard, Harrison Avenue, and others makes a huge difference for the whole neighborhood. Let's just take a look at Reed Boulevard in New Orleans East and the nearly $25 million of investments that we have made in Joe Brown Memorial Park. We didn't stop at the park's edge. Overlooking Joe Brown Park is a new regional state-of-the-art library, a police station, a 24-hour urgent care facility that has cared for 5,700 patients, and by the end of 2013, Councilmember Johnson, a full-service hospital. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that strong communities need all of the pieces in place: housing, business, retail, schools, jobs, healthcare, recreation, and transportation. And we're creating this synergy throughout the neighborhoods in the city, from Pontchartrain Park to Lakeview. A Choice Neighborhoods grant from the federal government will allow the city and the Housing Authority to redevelop the historic Tremaine neighborhood in the Iberville, leveraging over $1 billion investments that includes the Joy Theater, New Grocers, and the Sanger Theater. It's happening right now before your eyes. The Lafitte Greenway will transform an old abandoned rail car line into a beautiful linear park linking Congo Square to City Park. And then there's the $30 million park along the river that will finally open up Riverfront Accent to residents this fall. I want to thank Senator Landrieu, President Obama, our congressional delegation. We have $1.8 billion hitting the ground in school rebuilding in every part of the city. By the end of the year, 20 schools will have been built or will be under construction. Many of them are here today. I want to thank the Recovery School District and the Orleans Parish School Board for their hard work and their partnership in this area. You guys are doing a great job. Please give them a round of applause. By the end of 2016, every child will have a school worthy of his or her great promise, and citywide we will have some of the most improved educational facilities in the country. We have, as a city, completely reimagined the Big Four housing developments and brought back nearly 1,200 families into new and, yes, better communities. Just a few weeks ago, we were at the old B.W. Cooper to cut the ribbon for the new Marrero Commons. 250 brand new units, proudly dedicated to Yvonne Marrero, a great community leader for that neighborhood and for that city. We can give Yvonne a round of applause. There's a new streetcar line on Loyola Avenue corridor. It's currently under construction. It's going to be completed before the end of this year. And of course, the crown jewel, the $2 billion University Medical Center and the new VA, which will create 10,000 good-paying jobs in the healthcare sector in New Orleans. It is coming out of the ground as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, people of New Orleans, these are all major catalytic projects going on in your city right now as we build the city that we always dreamed that we could be. But while we think big, we're also focused on just getting the basics right. We're making a lot of progress towards fixing our streets. In the last 2 years, with the help from federal and state partners, we have doubled down on our investment in New Orleans streets. And all told, hundreds of millions have gone into road construction in every part of the city. I know you noticed Earhart, Holiday, Claiborne, Elysian Fields, Downman, Magazine, Robert E. Lee, Orleans, St. Charles Avenue, MacArthur, and many more. 60 miles of street repair since taking office. And we've increased bikeways and walking paths tenfold since Katrina. And there are many more projects from Gentilly to the French Quarter about to get off the ground. But while most folks would agree that our major corridors have improved, our neighborhood interior streets are still in awful shape and will remain a long-term problem for all of us to solve together. Everyone thinks that they have the worst streets in their neighborhood. Let me assure you, the competition for this is really fierce. They got some potholes in Lakeview that are the size of Christmas trees, all right? And going along some streets in Gentilly is like riding a Zephyr. And when you get to the West Bank, watch out. So what do? We got to work with what we had. We have filled 67,734 potholes and have worked with FEMA to secure additional funding specifically for smaller and interior streets. After Katrina, FEMA had obligated only $40 million for road repairs in our neighborhoods, barely a drop in the bucket. When I came into office, we went back to the drawing board. We rolled up our sleeves, went to work, and we met with FEMA 327 times. Our efforts have paid off, and FEMA in total has given us $450 million in new money, with $200 million of that $450 million for streets in over a dozen neighborhoods throughout the city. On top of that, another $247 million in hazard mitigation money for major citywide projects. And ladies and gentlemen, there's more on the way. That's what hard work produced. That's progress. One of the basics, thank you. One of the basics is streetlights. And we have a plan to turn on every light in this city. And I want to thank the council for working with us in this matter. I realize that if your street light doesn't work, what I'm about to say may not matter to you. But just for the record, there are 54,400 street lights in the city of New Orleans. When we took office, there were 16,000 of them that were dark. That's about 30%. Since taking office, our team has actually repaired 16,000 street lights. But all of you know this. This is an old, antiquated, Katrina-damaged system. And as fast as we can repair them, they go out again. Thousands are still in need of major repairs, which take weeks and thousands of dollars for each light. Our solution is to dedicate an additional $8 million in one-time recovery money to fund a surge in repair work so that lights can come on in every neighborhood by the end of this year. We're going from 3 repair crews to 6 repair crews, 5 days a work week to 6 days a week, from 8 hours a day to 13 hours a day. We're going to get this done. Thank you. Another critical, basic part of rebuilding neighborhoods is blight. There was no strategy when we got here, none. We established a comprehensive strategy to remove 10,000 blighted properties by 2014. In the year before we got here, as I said, the city didn't get much done, removing just 154 blighted properties. We've eradicated 4,400 since taking office, and we're well on our way to our 10,000 goal. But property owners, be on notice. We will continue aggressive enforcement. If you own blighted property, please do your part. It's not fair. Clean it up, or there will be consequences. We will fight to preserve the quality of life in our neighborhoods, like we did in Holly Grove at Big Time's Tips Bar, which had become a big-time problem for the community. Well, we shut it down. Another basic, home ownership. So we launched a revamped $52 million soft second program, which puts hundreds of New Orleans families into new homes by the end of 2013. Since March, we have given 63 families $3.4 million in soft seconds, putting them on a path to becoming first-time homeowners and realizing the American dream. For example, there are people like the young mother and her son who were living in a small apartment until they qualified for a $40,000 soft second assistance and now live in a beautiful home in Gentilly, closer to work and closer to school. This program is making a huge difference. The energy in our city, ladies and gentlemen, is contagious. Just ask the nearly 9 million visitors that we welcomed last year, or just ask your neighbor who went to the Jazz Fest, French Quarter Fest, or Bayou Boogaloo last weekend. And in the first 5 months, it was off the charts. Your city has hosted an unmatched string of major events, from the Bayou Classic to the New Orleans Bowl to New Year's Eve, Sugar Bowl, BCS Championship, Men's Final Four, Navy Week, Jazz Fest, French Quarter Fest, and more. And now we're preparing for the world's biggest show, the 2013 Super Bowl. It'll be our 10th time hosting this event. No other city in America has done this except Miami, and we're still better than them. Oh. And by the way, we got a little lanyard. It's called the All-Star Game in 2014. Amen to that. You all know this. Visitors are blown away by your great city, and people around the country are taking notice. The San Francisco Chronicle, and I quote, "6 years after Katrina, New Orleans looks like a renewed city, fresh with life, teeming with music, back in business." And this is a quote, "And Jazz Fest is back to being the best damn time on the face of the earth." Amen. That's good stuff. You can't have that kind of success without a world-class sports entertainment industry. You can't have it without a police department that is one of the best in the nation at crowd control. You can't do that with a city government that's not clicking on all cylinders, from park and parkways to sanitation, from EMS to traffic control offices. And you certainly can't do it without a city working in lockstep with small businesses, and yes, you the citizens. You make our city proud. Now, notwithstanding all of the good things that I just spoke about, I would be remiss if I did not spend some time talking to you about our long-term challenges. Pension responsibilities, major infrastructure needs, streets, sewage and water, repairs, education reform. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't keep kicking the can down the road. In the coming months, we have to continue to talk and engage with our elected officials and our business community about the responsible path forward on all of these long-term needs. We found a mess. We have made great progress, and we are beginning to move in the right direction. But, and ladies and gentlemen, this is a very big but. Every parent knows that you can only be as happy as your saddest child. And unfortunately, in this beautiful, precious city of ours, we have too many of those. And so reducing violent crime and murder in New Orleans, making New Orleans safe, has been and will continue to be the most important issue facing this city and its future. We must find a way to stop the killing. There is no greater gift that we could leave to future generations, and no challenge that is larger nor that is more imminent. And so today, I will lay out a comprehensive plan to end murder and violent crime in our city. But first, let me tell you, while it is true that we are not all at fault, it is true that we are all responsible. Like Robert Kennedy and many others have reminded us through the ages, if not us, who? If not now, when? We must all do our part. For the battlefield of this great struggle is both on the street and it is of the heart. We must change our culture of death, the ugly side of our city. We have no other choice. With each death, we lose what is most valuable, a precious life. Each life is precious, and with each murder, our future grows dimmer. The pain is too great for the mothers of New Orleans to bear. In 1864, President Lincoln wrote a mother whose 5 sons were lost to the killing fields of the Civil War. In the famous Bixby letter, Lincoln consoles the mother and lionizes her 5 sons having died on the field of battle. Now, almost 150 years later, while the circumstances are so very different, a similar scene is played out on the streets of New Orleans. 4 sons taken by violence, one mother's heart broken into pieces. But here in our time, there is no slight consolation for the bereaved, just bewilderment about the senselessness and relentlessness of the violence. All that's left are 4 empty chairs around Miss Althea Phillips' dining room table, and a hurt that runs as furious and as deep as the mighty Mississippi. That same hurt felt by Ricky Summers' family, teachers, and classmates as they mourned his death earlier this year. 16 years old, no stranger to violence in his Central City neighborhood, Ricky was determined to get out. You see, he wanted to be different. He was one of the original Kipsters, enrolled in the first class at KIPP Central City. Ricky was a good kid who, like many other people in our city, was struggling to become a man without the guiding hand of his father. His 8th grade class had been studying Langston Hughes and had just finished reviewing the poem, A Dream Deferred, which reads, "What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it just explode?" Ricky's dream was not just deferred. It was a dream that was violently denied. His rich potential was snuffed out like too many before him, like baby Kiera Holmes, who was caught in the crossfire as she played with her friends outside her home just before Christmas, and just before her second birthday. Or Jeremy Gallman, struck by a bullet meant for another. He was 2 years old as well. Or Brandon Baker, a football player about to graduate from Cohen. Or the recent horrible killings that brought even more pain to the KIPP community. Or the 5 John McDonough High School students killed last year before they had a chance to walk across that stage and make their mark on our world. It is a sad, horrifying truth that in 2011, a John McDonough High School student was more likely to be killed on the streets of America in the city of New Orleans than a soldier fighting for our freedom in Afghanistan. Indeed, last month we had 6 murder victims who were baby-faced teenagers. Dreams deferred, dreams denied. So walk with me. Let's take a look at some hard facts. In 2010, nearly 13,000 people were murdered on the streets of our beloved country. The weapon of choice, a handgun. The victims and perpetrators, disproportionately young African-American men. If a foreign enemy killed 13,000 American citizens, there would be hell to pay. If the Ku Klux Klan murdered thousands of young black men, this nation would be in an uproar. But for some reason, we're hardened to these facts, paralyzed, and we remain eerily silent. We refuse to hear it. We refuse to see it, but it's ripping us apart. We should consider what's happening on the streets of our fair city. According to the FBI, we rank 79th for violent crime out of 274 cities. But New Orleans has the 8th most actual murders of any American city, and we are number one, ladies and gentlemen, for murders per person. And sadly, this is not a new phenomenon. Going back at least 33 years to 1979, on average, New Orleans has had 7 to 8 times the national murder rate. It has always been this way. Back when gas was 89 cents a gallon, when the Aints were still wearing bags on their heads, through 5 mayors, 6 presidents, a dizzying series of world events, from the fall of the Berlin Wall, the invention of the personal computer, the Iran hostage crisis, and the liberation of Nelson Mandela. Through peaks and valleys, highs and lows, our murder rate has been higher than the rest of the country, with an average of 241 murders a year, every year, as far back as our records can count. This is unnatural. We have to stand today and say that this is unacceptable. We have to stand today and say this has to stop, and make no mistake about it. It can be fixed. There is an answer to this problem. Various theories have been put forth for why New Orleans, of all places, has this deep-seated problem. People wonder why here in this place that knows how to live and love so well can death be so routine and so relentless. Some say it's Katrina, but I just showed you that this problem precedes Katrina and goes way back. Some say that poverty, unemployment, bad schools drive the New Orleans murder rate. No doubt these are very important factors, but they don't really give you the whole picture. Just look at Atlanta, look at Memphis, look at Montgomery, all southern cities with very similar stories to tell, yet none of their murder rates come anywhere close to ours. Clearly, poverty, unemployment doesn't necessarily mean a higher murder rate. Finally, some say it's just a New Orleans problem, like there's something in the water down here. But the truth is, in every American city, they have neighborhoods where young men are being killed and are killing at alarming rates. This problem is not unique to our city, though we got more of it. So, what do we know about the murders in New Orleans? Let's take a closer look. In 2011, on the streets of our city, 199 people lost their lives as victims of murder. According to the Department of Justice, murders are highly concentrated in 3 to 4 neighborhoods in our city. Most perpetrators and victims are unemployed African-American men between 16 and 25, with little education and long criminal records. And 78% of the perpetrators and the victims know each other. 78% know each other. We know that petty arguments, stepping on somebody's shoe, taking someone's parking spot, or any sign of disrespect can cause blood to be spilled and lives to be lost. And so we've taken these facts, and with the help from Bloomberg Philanthropies, we have developed a comprehensive plan to attack this problem and to end murder and violent crime in New Orleans. It's called NOLA for Life, because we will end the cycle of violence and change the culture of death into a culture of life. We must change the bad to the good. This is not an impossible task. Indeed, at one time, many had given up on cities like Los Angeles, like New York, like Boston, but they dramatically reduced crime and murder. And ladies and gentlemen, so can we. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not going anywhere. We all made the decision after Katrina to stay here and to fight for the city that we love. So I need you to be with me. I need you to be with me and NOLA for Life. The pillars of NOLA for Life are really simple. First, stop the shooting. Second, invest in prevention. 3, promote jobs and opportunity. 4, improve the police department. 5, get the community involved and rebuild our neighborhood. It begins with a laser-like focus on a small number of young men who are killed and are being killed. Our message to them in word and in deed is to stop the shooting. Jobs, prevention, rebuilding neighborhoods, all very important parts of the plan. But first, you have to stop the shooting. I want you to imagine, if you will, a patient lying on the operating table, dying of a heart attack. In that moment, for that person, when the heart has flatlined, the answer is all hands on deck. It's not a healthy diet and exercise. The answer is an emergency procedure, a defibrillator sending shock waves through the heart to make it beat. So today I'm asking every mother, every father, every brother, every sister, every pastor, every judge, every neighbor, every auntie, every teacher, every outreach worker, every friend, that ought to be all of y'all, Governor Jindal, President Obama, stand with me today. Send the message through word and deed to stop the shooting. We haven't waited. Our frontline police officers, our probation and parole agents, our federal partners are already working together. We took the Department of Justice's advice and brought them together, criminal justice leaders, social service providers, school officials, and others, to create the Mayor's Strategic Command to reduce murders. This initiative focuses our efforts on the right people in the right places to stop the shooting. We also launched Ceasefire New Orleans in Central City, and our ceasefire outreach workers are saving lives. They're combining science and street smarts to track where the beefs are heating up and then to interrupt the violence. We've also partnered with criminologist David Kennedy, who has worked in other cities like Boston and Los Angeles to drastically reduce murders and shootings. Kennedy's approach starts with respected elders and community members delivering a simple message: stop the shooting. Those who heed the message will be offered services and support so they can start a new life and leave behind violence. And those who don't change their ways will be held accountable with strict, predictable, and certain consequences. We've strengthened the partnership between NOPD, the state police, and the state's Office of Probation and Parole. It's really important that parolees stay on the straight and narrow. But with about 150 cases each, the probation and parole offices are stretched to the limit. That's why I've requested that Governor Jindal put more resources into the understaffed office in New Orleans. With additional probation and parole officers and more electronic monitoring, we can help NOPD target hotspots and put those parolees who are most at risk of reoffending under a microscope. Furthermore, to take guns off the streets, we're building on the success of Project Safe Neighborhoods. With the support of Attorney General Eric Holder, in the last several months, ATF, DEA, and the U.S. Marshal have more than doubled their manpower that are on the streets of New Orleans as we speak. They're working closely with NOPD to seize illegal weapons from violent offenders. But I'm asking President Obama and the federal government for additional support in a concept I call Operation Full Circle. Our plan would create a more permanent strike surge team of federal law enforcement prosecutors who would come to New Orleans on detail from their agencies, along with the FBI, ATF, and DEA, and build, indict, and prosecute violent gangs and drug lords in identified hotspots. With this kind of surge support, we can focus like a laser on violent offenders to get them to stop the shooting. We have to stop the shooting first. But all of us know that we cannot just arrest our way out of this problem. That's why NOLA for Life puts a heavy emphasis on prevention. Through this initiative, we began Save Our Sons. We have identified and trained new mentors and young people. We're expanding our recreational opportunities so our kids can enjoy worthwhile, positive activities. We've teamed up with world-class corporations like Nike at Joe Brown Park and the Hornets with Midnight Basketball. We're also trying to protect mental health services, and we're fighting to restore the cuts in Baton Rouge as we speak. This is another way Governor Jindal can make our city safer, because if the state does not honor their obligation, we will have to do less with less, and our streets will be more dangerous. And lastly, the youth of New Orleans are too often confronted with the realities of murder and violence. We must respond quickly and support those affected. So the NOPD and our health department work together to facilitate immediate mental health support on site at schools. As we speak, we're working with schools, LSU, and the Children's Bureau to support students' needs when they're in most need of help. The third part of NOLA for Life is promoting jobs and opportunity. A job is the best way out. Since taking office, we've doubled the number of summer jobs for kids, rapidly expanded the number of job sites, and we need more. A lot maintenance program in the Ninth Ward is a great model where local residents and, yes, ex-offenders deliver great service to cut overgrown lots, and the city's new reentry coordinator will take that to the next level. The fourth pillar is completely remaking the New Orleans Police Department. We all know that this is one of the toughest jobs in America, and for too long, a few corrupt cops have caused our community and this department much pain and much agony. We have strong allies in the hundreds of honest cops who dreamed of being police officers when they were young so they could protect and serve. In the old NOPD, there was little accountability and limited oversight. In the new NOPD, we insist on total, complete transparency and have redesigned and opened CompStat meetings to the public and added FBI agents to the NOPD's internal investigation team. In the old NOPD, officers reported for duty and were dispatched to different neighborhoods on different days. In the new NOPD, we deploy smarter, putting the same officers in the same neighborhoods day after day. It's about building trust and getting back to the basics of community policing. Plus, we have a new class of 29 recruits that will hit the streets in July. We need better training, so we've raised the bar for our newest officers. In the new NOPD Academy, the program is more extensive, more rigorous, and based on instilling community policing practices. And residents are starting to take notice. Crime Stoppers reports an 11% increase in tips, and people are more willing to call in police to solve neighborhood problems and to share information. This is a sign of great progress, but everyone knows that we have a very long way to go. In the old NOPD, the homicide unit was woefully understaffed, and there was little follow-up. In the new NOPD, we beefed up and reformed the homicide unit, going from 16 to 32 detectives. Now, immediately following a murder, the area is flooded with homicide and narcotics detectives. And according to the Metropolitan Crime Commission, we're seeing results in arresting the bad guys quicker to create real consequences for the crimes. Mr. DA, thank you for your partnership in that effort. In the old NOPD, thank you. In the old NOPD, the department inefficiently deployed resources. But in the new NOPD, we're using cutting-edge technology to target crime hotspots, areas often no larger than 4 or 5 square blocks. In the old NOPD, the crime lab was barely functioning, so we have dedicated ourselves to standing up the new crime lab, and at the end of last year, we eliminated a multi-year backlog of firearm testing. We can't tolerate evidence that could solve crimes sitting on the shelf collecting dust. And with the help of the National Institute of Justice, the State Police, and Marshall University, the New Orleans Police Department also eliminated a multi-year backlog of over 800 sexual assault kits. Victims of these most heinous crimes are now getting answers, and we have gotten 70 new leads on rape cases in the last couple years. This is the new NOPD. However, make no mistake, there is hard work ahead, but we are ready for more change, much more change. The detail system is being completely overhauled and will be run by an independent office outside of NOPD and will report to the Chief Administrative Officer. All cop cars will be outfitted with cameras, so there will be no more he said, she said. There will be new mandated focus on constitutional application of justice. We will not waver or shrink from this challenge. Our reforms are taking root, and the consent decree will solidify these changes for good, the new NOPD. That brings us to the final pillar of NOLA for Life, community involvement and rebuilding our neighborhoods, and what you, the citizens, can do. We will make our neighborhoods safe by turning on every streetlight and eradicating blight. We will create vibrant communities and are spending hundreds of millions of dollars for new community centers, health clinics, playgrounds, and roads. Again, we're all in this together. We're all responsible. So here's what you can do to get involved. Take the fight to the streets on NOLA for Life volunteer days, where city agencies and the NOPD will clean up crime hotspots. Join us as we take back the neighborhoods. Our first NOLA for Life volunteer day will be in July, and I'm asking you to join us. Get involved, start a neighborhood watch, volunteer to become a mentor at your neighborhood school, provide a job opportunity for young people, and yes, ex-offenders. Sign up on the city's website. Let me be clear, we're asking everybody to put skin in the game. We're asking the state to increase probation and parole resources, to fund mental health, fund its obligations to the DA, to the public defender, give us more state troopers to patrol the interstate and the state assets so that NOPD can focus on the neighborhoods. We are asking President Obama and Congress to invest in Operation Full Circle, more boots on the ground, help with intelligence gathering, interdiction of guns, training our law enforcement. I've had constituents, council members, legislators say they will do whatever it takes to make our streets safe, and I look forward to working with all of you on this issue. The cost of doing nothing is much more severe, and the alternative, ladies and gentlemen, is unacceptable. I have said before, and I will say again, there is nothing in this precious city that is broken that we cannot fix. There is no problem that we cannot solve. There is no offense between us that cannot be forgiven. There is no breach or divide that cannot be repaired. Some are cynical and believe that we cannot change, but I do, and I have great hope. I have great hope because of young people like Ryan Dalton. Ryan is the 6th of 11 children. He was raised by his mom, and times were tough in their 8th Ward home. Ryan was 15 when Katrina hit. His family went to Houston with so many others. Ryan didn't go back to school until he moved back to New Orleans. It was good to be home, but with a new child to care for, Ryan needed money, and he turned to a life on the streets. And it was there that he was nearly lost to us, shot 3 times, but he survived. And then he got about turning his life around. It was his sister who first told Ryan about a program called Cafe Reconcile on O.C. Haley Boulevard that helps connect young people to skills and jobs and to transform their lives. And Ryan excelled in that program. And now at Cafe Reconcile, he's a floor trainer in his own right, and he's pursuing a degree in business. Ryan's life is a testament to that hope, though she may be concealed, is always there waiting for us to seek her out. Ryan, please stand up so everybody can give you a round of applause. Ryan's struggle is a testament to the fact that out of tragedy, we can always find triumph, that out of despair, there can always be hope, that out of destruction can always come something that's beautiful. And so today, I have great hope for all of our young men because their potential, like Ryan's, is inspiring. And I have hope for the city of New Orleans because of people like Ryan and because of you, the people of New Orleans, who never stop moving forward, even during our darkest hours. I hope that you will join us in changing the culture of death into a culture of life, NOLA for Life. People of New Orleans, we have made great progress. We have a long way to go together. We are one team. We are one fight. We are one voice. We are one city. Let's get back to work. God bless you all, and thank you very much.